Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Louisa Liu. Thank you for joining us. In the wake of the Sichuan earthquake, local residents have been unified by grief and the common goal of returning to normalcy. In Luocheng village of Sichuan, a kindergarten principal is leading a group of students to help Tzu Chi volunteers in the disaster relief effort.
Dressed in a white t-shirt, the principal of a local kindergarten, Hua Dengjun, heartily sings Tzu Chi songs with volunteers. Though last month's massive earthquake destroyed her home, her passion for education is unaffected. When Tzu Chi volunteers arrived the day after the catastrophe, she quickly summoned a group of her students to join in the relief efforts.
Taiwan Tzu Chi came all the way to provide aid to the disaster areas. As victims, we should work harder to help ourselves.
The energetic group of little volunteers range from 6 to 18 years old and are all Hua Dengjun's past students. One by one, the youngsters have invited their peers to serve as volunteers, boosting the team to 80 members from the initial dozen. Hua Dengjun's love is the driving force behind children's enthusiasm.
I want them to learn about the value of love and gratitude at an early age. If others are making an effort to come and care for us, we should do the same for ourselves. We must pay this love forward.
What a blessing it is to be able to help others. Hua Dengjun believes that, apart from tending to disaster survivors' daily needs, Tzu Chi volunteers are teaching youngsters about the true meaning of altruism. Hua Dengjun and her students have taken it upon themselves to further Tzu Chi's ideal of selflessness among locals, restoring hope with love and compassion.
For the past 2 weeks, volunteers in Sichuan's Ponghua village have been preparing hot food for earthquake victims. Moved by the gesture of kindness, local people have been streaming into the service point to help out. Even small children come every day to volunteer.
At 8 o'clock in the morning, little volunteers from Ponghua village are ready to learn Jingsi culture from Tzu Chi volunteers. At the morning event, these 6 children all come from秦家坎village. Liu Hejun is a 4th grade student. She was the first child from her village to become a little volunteer. After going back to秦家坎village, the next day she brought 5 other classmates with her to lend a hand.
Because I was happy here, I wanted them to experience the same happiness.
We got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and walked 2 hours. Although it's hard for everyone to come here, we feel very happy.
The 6 junior volunteers from秦家坎village say their homes were all destroyed by the earthquake. Some lost family members, including Tzu Chi, whose grandmother and aunt were casualties of the quake.
My aunt was a teacher at a nearby kindergarten. She gave up her life for the children. They were saved. She died holding 2 children.
At lunchtime and in the evening, Tzu Chi volunteers cook healthy and tasty rice boxes for the children. Volunteers young and old are brought together by compassion. Formerly separated by thousands of miles, hand in hand with each other now, they have become one family.
For weeks now, Tzu Chi has been regularly conducting house calls throughout the earthquake-hit Ponghua village in Sichuan. Even today, volunteers are discovering needy people, some of whom suffer as much in their heart as they do in their body.
On every medical trip into the Ponghua community, doctors have found 82-year-old lung cancer sufferer曾凡影complaining of the pain in his chest.
Take this medicine 3 times a day after each meal.
Outside, all is ruin. Inside, Mr. Zeng is connected to a catheter and covered in flies. Tzu Chi volunteers will not leave him behind. Every day, they deliver 3 meals.
Mr. Zeng's son died in the earthquake and he very much misses him. He often takes his cane and visits the scene of his son's death. Once, he fainted.
It is fortunate Tzu Chi was there to get him to the hospital. This warm concern brings tears from Mr. Zeng. Tzu Chi volunteers gently dry his face and wipe his nose.
Right now, the most important thing is our care. We must urge his family to stay with him to make this old man more comfortable.
Mr. Zeng is suffering, but he is not alone. Tzu Chi is there, at his side, reassuring him that humanity wishes him peace and values his life.
Youth in Sichuan are grappling with the same burden suffered by everyone, but unlike the elders, the very young cannot assist with heavy construction and labor that is so needed. Therefore, many have come to Tzu Chi relief stations to help volunteer and participate in Tzu Chi activities.
8.5-year-old Wei Shou-tao stands before this woman reciting Jingsi aphorisms. Having 2 weeks ago sought out this free clinic, he is enthusiastic about these lessons of humanity. Each day, Wei Shou-tao carries a Jingsi aphorism, and as he leads waiting patients forward, he puts the day's phrase to use, repeating each until it is memorized. In the process, he lifts everyone's hearts. Zhou Wenbing is also seeking out wisdom. He accompanies Tzu Chi relief teams on a house visit to the 82-year-old Zhen Fanying. When he sees Mr. Zeng's sadness and how he will not eat, Zhou brings him a bowl of porridge.
Grandfather, I brought you this food, rice porridge. Eat it slowly. It's hot.
When he sees Mr. Zeng taking the food, Zhou Wenbing reminds him once again.
Wait for it to cool a little. It's very hot.
This boy, striving towards goodness and care, and Zhen Fanying, his spirit crushed by the loss of his son. Tzu Chi nurtures them both. In moments like this, humanity prospers.